Welcome to TV Africa News. Hope you had a beautiful day. This is Africa Today. My name is Nahaba Kajur. But first are the headlines. Government withdraws treason case against Dr. Kizza Besigye. Students' loan applications for 2021-2022 now open. And the trial to know who killed Thomas Sankara opens. And in our sports today, Peruth Chemtai voted USPA's Outstanding Personality of August 2021. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We start with one of our top stories. Now, the treason case that had been slapped against former four-time presidential candidate, retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, for allegedly swearing in following the disputed 2016 polls has been withdrawn, Daily Monitor has learned. Now, the withdrawal of the case was done in December 2019 during Justice Mike Chibita's reign as the Director of Public Prosecutions. We have more on this report.
The withdrawal form signed off by the then DPP Chibita reads in part informing court that the Director of Public Prosecutions has decided to discontinue proceedings against retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye Chifefe, charged with treason. Sources said the form was filed before Nakawa Court's registry and it was not followed with the formal withdrawal process that involves court convening with the accused persons present. The treason charges arose after a video clip of the alleged swearing in went viral on social media on May 11, 2016, on the eve of President Museveni's swearing in for the 5th elective term in office. Dr. Besigye was first charged with treason in Moroto district before he was transferred to Nakawa Court in Kampala and charged afresh. Dr. Besigye had refused to return to the court, citing delay in concluding investigations and having him committed to the High Court to stand trial. Then DPP Chibita attributed the delays in concluding the investigations to uncooperative witnesses who allegedly attended Dr. Besigye's swearing in but refused to record statements with police.
Moving on, the Higher Education Students Financing Board has announced that students' loan through the Students' Loan Scheme for the 2021-2022 academic year is now accepting applications. Now, all eligible students, continuing and final year students included, who have been admitted to recognized higher education institutions can apply for the loans. We have more on this report.
The board, with funding from Government of Uganda, has set aside Ugandan shillings 6 billion to support 1,500 new cohort of student loan beneficiaries and at least 100 continuing students in the academic year 2021-2022. Michael Wanyama, who is the Higher Education Students Financing Board Executive Director, told journalists at the Uganda Media Center on Monday that applications are open for all students that have been admitted for undergraduate diploma and degree programs in public, private, chartered universities and other listed tertiary institutions. Wanyama added that the loan shall also cover aids and appliances for persons with disabilities, but the beneficiaries will be expected to cover their welfare expenses throughout their education programs. Wanyama emphasized that the students' loan covers tuition, functional fees and any other fees required by the institutions. For the 2021-2022 academic year, the student loans will be given to financially challenged students joining higher institutions of learning who are not beneficiaries of any other funding or scholarships. The application process, according to Wanyama, is online and prospective applicants have been urged to apply through the HESFB website. Wanyama said hard copy application forms will also be printed out in newspapers this week and urged applicants to seek further guidance from the HESFB website or public universities only.
Moving on, Uganda Breweries Limited has partnered with Coca-Cola, Ministry of Health, KCCA and NICE Uganda to host the first ever COVID-19 vaccination event. The event will be held at Kololo Airstrip on Saturday, October 16, 2021, between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Take a look at the story.
According to Jackie Tahakaniziwa, the corporate relations manager at the Uganda Breweries Limited, their priority is to increase accessibility to COVID-19 vaccines, making it as convenient as possible for the people to get vaccinated, and have witnessed an overwhelming response from the public since they extended vaccination to hospitality venues. She added that this event will be on a Saturday and will enable those who need to receive their first or second jabs get in with ease and in a funny environment. The event will see over 20 mobile vaccination sites put in one location with provisions for convenient access and amenities such as holding area, recovery tent, hospitality and entertainment. These are part of the efforts by the beer companies aimed at beating the 4.8 million target of vaccinated people that the president said must be reached before the economy fully recovers. Since last month, Uganda Breweries Limited, Coca-Cola and other partners have supported the scaling up of COVID-19 vaccines, extending the mobile vaccination sites to restaurants, bars, markets and public centers within the Greater Kampala metropolitan area. Dorothy Kisaka, the Kampala Capital City Authority Executive Director, applauded Uganda Breweries Limited for the move and encouraged even more private sector players to come on board to increase uptakes of vaccines.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Let's go for a quick break. We shall come back with our international news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the Right to Know. In our international news today, former Interior Minister Fathi Bashaga, the only Libyan so far to publicly announce a run for president in polls due on December 24th, has put security and economic reform at the heart of his speech. Now, the polls will end a year that started badly for the 59-year-old. We have more on this report.
In February, Fathi Bashaga was narrowly beaten in elections to the post of the interim prime minister as part of the UN-led peace efforts. That same month, he survived what aides called a well-planned assassination attempt, a hail of bullets fired at his convoy on a highway near Tripoli. But Bashagi, a heavyweight in Libyan politics and champion of efforts to integrate the North African country's many militias into the state, is not backing down. He wants to get Libya back on its feet by reviving the crisis-hit economy, he told AFP in an interview in his garden in the Tripoli suburbs. The December polls are part of the United Nations-led efforts to turn the page on a decade of violence in the North African country just over a year after a landmark ceasefire between eastern and western camps. A unity government took office in March with a mandate to lead Libya to presidential and parliamentary polls, a process overshadowed by disputes over the legal basis for the votes following years of division and collapse of the state.
Moving on, massive displacement in Cabo Delgado, Mozambique's northern province, has put an enormous strain on existing water and health facilities, some of which were previously damaged by extreme weather events. Now, as a result, a concerning shortage of safe water, sanitation, and health services is a looming threat to public health for displaced people and host communities. Our reporter has more.
Dominique Stillhart, Director of Operations for the International Committee of the Red Cross, who is completing a 3-day visit to Cabo Delgado, said that a lot of people depend on this type of water and definitely not to any standards of public health in the north of Mozambique. Mozambique has increasingly been facing the compounded impact of armed conflict and climate change in recent years, which takes a toll on people's health. Recurring and more frequent frequent cyclones and floods have damaged health and water facilities, such as the hospital on Ibo, which was the only health facility serving the archipelago. More than 100,000 people, one-third of the province's entire population, have fled their homes due to the escalation of the armed conflict, finding shelter in urban areas and on the islands. Displaced people frequently settle down in city outskirts outside the coverage of the water distribution systems. According to World Health Organization, the number of cholera cases in Cabo Delgado at the beginning of August 2021 was 3,400 compared to approximately 2,200 from the same period last year. In the first semester of 2021, 28,602 cases of diarrhea have been registered in the province, of which 40% of cases were registered in districts where ICRC has focused its work, such as Motepuz and Ibo Islands.
Moving on, a military court in Ouagadougou on Monday began the long-awaited trial of 14 men, including the former president, accused in the assassination of Burkina Faso's left-wing leader, Thomas Sankara, 34 years ago. Our reporter has more.
The slaying of Sankara, a Pan-Africanist icon, has for years cast a shadow over the poor Sahel state, fueling its reputation for turbulence and bloodshed. Sankara and 12 others were riddled with bullets by a hit squad on October 15, 1987, during a push that brought his friend and comrade in arms Blaise Compaoré to power. Compaoré, the chief accused, announced through his lawyers last week that he could boycott the trial. He ruled the country for 27 years before being deposed by a popular uprising in 2014 and fleeing to neighboring Ivory Coast, which granted him citizenship. He made his former right-hand man, General Gilbert Diendere, who once headed the elite Presidential Security Regiment, face charges of complicity in murder, harming state security, and complicity in the concealment of corpses. His lawyers last week announced he would not be attending political trial that they said was flawed by irregularities and insisted he enjoyed immunity as a former head of state. Like Ghana's former leader Jerry Rawlings, Thomas Sankara became an idol in left-wing circles in Africa, lauded for his radical policies and defiance of the big powers.
Moving on, Tunisia's President Kais Saied on Monday appointed a new government by decree 11 weeks after he fired the last one. Now, the new cabinet was announced a day after at least 6,000 people demonstrated in central Tunis against Said's power grab.
The presidency said in a statement shortly before state television broadcast a swearing-in ceremony that the President of the Republic has issued a decree naming the head of government and its members. Said sacked the Prime Minister, suspended Parliament and granted himself judicial powers in a July 25th power grab that opponents have termed a coup. The new government is headed by Najila Boden, the North African country's first ever female Prime Minister, although Said has significantly pared back the powers of her office and will technically head the administration himself. The president named Boden a geologist on September 29th, more than 2 months after sacking the administration of Ishema Mechichi and removing lawmakers' immunity. Boden, 63, said in a speech on Monday that the fight against corruption will be the most important aim of the new government, which includes 25 ministers besides her.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. We take a quick break. We shall come back with the business news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In a business news today, a new government decree defines the cost of 31,850 kwasas, the equivalent to 46 euros, for a test to be carried out on the Porto de Fevario International Airport in Luanda, according to government sources. Our reporter has more.
According to official sources, rapid tests compulsory since January on arrival in Angola, and Hithato free of charge will now be paid for. Paid but not at the time the person is tested. The amount will be charged when the airline ticket is purchased through a health fee that the airline company then hands over to the Angolan state. The initiative is part of the fight against the spread of the coronavirus. Among the measures taken by Rwanda to try to limit the spread of the coronavirus is the obligation for users of public and private services to present proof of vaccination. Angola has already vaccinated 7.7% of its 32 million inhabitants. As of September 1st, authorities lifted the lockdown in place in Rwanda since March 2020, and the quarantine period for persons fully vaccinated arriving in Angola has also been lifted.
Away from business, in our health news today, the Ministry of Health has rolled out COVID-19 vaccination at the Old Tax Park, City Square, among other open public spaces in Kampala as part of ongoing vaccination campaign. Now, the Old Tax Park will be used for COVID-19 vaccination this week. We have more on this report.
According to the Health Ministry spokesperson Emmanuel Ainebiona, vaccination at the newly opened temporary spaces started on Monday afternoon and will run for the whole week. The other open spaces that will work as vaccination centers include Okuvu Church, Nambole Stadium, Mayor's Garden, Entebbe, Wankurukuku Stadium, Chigobe Primary School, among others. Uganda seeks to vaccinate at least 4.8 million people by December 2021 before it opens up other sectors like education and entertainment that are still under lockdown. Latest data from the Health Ministry shows that the country has so far vaccinated 2,283,718 people with at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Ainebiona encouraged all Ugandans to take up the vaccine, saying that it is safe and done to help the country recover from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has ravaged the world for 2 years now. The Old Tax Park has been closed for refurbishment for over a year now, with the Kampala Capital City Authority initially saying the park was to be reopened on May 22nd, 2021.
Away from health, in our sports news today, the Uganda Sports Press Association has voted female athlete Peruth Chemtai as the Nile Special USPA Sports Personality for the month of August 2021. Now, this was during the association's monthly meeting that convened on Monday, October 11th, 2021 at Imperial Royal Hotel in Kampala. Our reporter has more.
Chemtai won a gold medal in 3,000-meter steeplechase event at the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games in Japan after clocking a time of 9 minutes, 1 second and 45 microseconds to set a new national record as well. The 22-year-old athlete was the first Ugandan female to win an Olympic medal of any sort since 1954. The assembly commended male athlete Joshua Cheptegei for the Olympic gold medal in the 5,000-meter event that he won after a silver medal in the 10,000 meters at the same games. Also, Express Football Club was singled out for triumphing in the 2021 Sekafa Kagame Cup held in Dar es Salaam City, Tanzania. The Uganda national basketball team, the Silverbacks, was also hailed for reaching quarter-finals of the Afro Basketball Championships hosted by Rwanda at the Kigali Sports Arena. Uganda's Silverbacks, during the playing of the national anthem before the game against Nigeria, credit Federation for International Basketball Associations. Meanwhile, USPA members also voted the Uganda's men cricket team for the September award. This team, also tagged as the Cricket Cranes, won the Tri-Nations tournament in the Pearl of Africa T20 series held at the Entebbe Picturesque Lakeside Oval after overcoming traditional rivals Kenya and Nigeria over the week-long competition.
Thank you so much for being a loyal audience. From where we started from, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We shall keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.